got my birthday in August.
No, nobody.
No one cares
No,
about my birthday.
yeah. One of my favorite things is when you called me and I was like, yeah, I was having lunch with some friends, with Corey and some friends, and you were like, friends? I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. That's foreign to me. Anyways, this is hello everybody. Welcome to the Video Games and Nonsense podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chase Carter, and that's
Raymond Woods.
It's Raymond Woods this week. All right, and this is where we talk about video games and nonsense. And we're going to start off by what we've been playing lately. So, Ray, what have you been playing?
I've been actually playing Outriders, Spiritfarer, and then what the fuck? I can't remember what the name's called.
What kind of game is it?
Rogue Company. There it is.
A Rogue Company.
Yeah, Rogue Company is it's basically just a third person. It's basically a third person CS:GO or Valorant, and but it's in my opinion it's a lot better than those games. Basically you have it's not a BR, it's multiplayer, but you have the main objective for the main game mode is you plant a bomb and then the other team has to disarm it. But each character, you have your rogue characters, and each character has different abilities and stuff like that, and you get different guns and stuff.
Oh, a multiplayer, tactical multiplayer, third-person shooter, hero shooter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the heroes are the rogues, but it's really cool because it works. The damage output is good. The hit detection is very good. It just works, and it goes to show that when a game actually works, if you have above average skill, you're going to win most of the time, and that's what happens. Me, Dylan, and our buddy Fire, that's his like little Twitch name.
Sounds like the man's name is Fire. Is it like, who was that one that funny name, that not funny name, but it was like Blaze or something like that? One of our friends they named their kid Blaze, and I was like,
oh yeah, no,
completely different. I was like, are they naming kids Fire now? Just
it was that
water,
one waitress.
Wind.
It was that one waitress at Applebee's.
Yeah. Yeah,
Jessica?
Jessica. Yeah, Jessica.
Yeah, the one who got offended when I said like a mom joke. Don't ever say anything about my mom or anything.
It's like we're all joking around. It's okay. It's weird how people get offended by it. Everything else is okay except for the one thing that hits home for them. You can make fun of crippled people. You can make fun of all these people, but someone with a limp or something, and then their brother limps has a limp, and then they get really super. I'm like, hey, everything else was okay. Everything else.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's funny. But so Rogue Company.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's really fun. It's you would probably like it. It's also on console. I'm pretty sure there's crossplay. So if you ever want to jump in and try it out, because it's not VR. It's not like there are game like it is like the mode that we usually play, Demolition. That's what it is. You if you get killed, you're out. Like you're eliminated.
Okay.
But there are other game modes, like there's this one game mode. It's limited time right now. It's called Dodgeball. So basically, if you die, you're out. But if your teammate gets a kill, then you're back in.
No, that's kind of fun. So like the balance of power kind of shifts as the game goes.
It's really cool. It's really, really interesting. So like there have been times when like me and Dylan and like our team will be out except for one person, and there'll be like four other people, and then that team will make a mistake, and like one will push alone, and then our teammate will get it down. And then one person's back in, and then that person gets another down and then kills them. And then, we have our fucking whole team back, and then their team is, so it's really cool, real cool push and pull.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised. I'm pretty sure other games have done it, but I haven't really seen any other games. But Valorant, I tried Valorant yesterday. Can't play that game. Cannot play that game. Oh no, that game is bad. I don't care. Anyone who watches this, if they're fans of Valorant, I don't care. That game is one of the stupidest games ever played. Worse than Warzone, worse than Destiny 2. I'm not kidding. It's like they go way beyond the realism of weapon recoil. Like with a sniper, if you barely move, like you'll like barely move with a sniper like to the right, and your shot fucking goes to the right, and I'm like, what the fuck am I playing? You have to stand perfectly still. Now look, I understand like with a real sniper, like you be laying down in the back, but that's not what that game is. That game is a mystical, magical game where your characters have these abilities, and then they want to go realistic with the guns or over realistic. I'm like, no. So what you have to do in order to get an accurate shot, you have to stand completely still while aiming your sniper.
Is that any gun or just the sniper?
No, if it's like with a lot of the guns, like if you move, your shit is inaccurate as fuck. And I'm like, I could be like 10 feet away from someone, and I'm like shooting, and I'm kind of spamming, and my shot, like, I'll miss a lot. And I'm like, and then also the thing that killed the game for me is
if
you're running away.
But so it's
no,
too far
no, not
into the.
It's too much. It's over. It's not realistic. The how much the recoil is not realistic. No, that's not realistic at all. That's I don't know why they do that. It's beyond me. But then what really killed the game for me? If you can't run in the game, I don't. What am I playing? Is this Halo 2? Like, you can't sprint. You can walk. And that'll quiet your footsteps, but you can't sprint. Oh my. Okay, whatever. But if you're walking away from an enemy and you get shot from the back, the bullets slow you down. It's like to a crawl. And Apex did that, and that's one thing that killed Apex for me as well. I don't know who in their fucking right mind thought that's a good idea. I don't get that. If you get shot, the bullets slow you. Why? What do you what? That's so that I don't. That is beyond me. That is the stupidest thing I've ever, like, in Gears of War. I think that did that in Gears of War, but I think it only really affected you if you were coming at an enemy. That I can kind of understand, like, you kind of get slowed a little bit. But if you're going away from someone and you're getting slowed, you can't do anything. There's nothing you can do. You're gonna die. Like, what?
It depends it depends on the type of shooter it is. I would like I've always said, if someone's running and you shoot them in the leg, I always, like, in Battlefield, there should be a realistic mode where you like trip and fall. You could trip and fall. You have to get up. Your character gets like in a get up animation, and then you limp and you're slowed because of that. Like, you're injured. That would be a cool gameplay mode to try out and see. Other than I'm hitting a guy and he's still running. He's not. He didn't get slowed down. But like in those games where they're bullet sponges and it's like ta 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 ta, and then you slow down, I think that would be annoying. But it depends on, I guess, the kind of game you think it is or it should be. Like, if it's like how you said, the fantastical, magical, character-based hero thing, and then it's a very realistic shooter.
You're like,
so it's either, to me, what? I'd rather have a realistic shooter or a fantastical one. I don't know about a mix, but maybe there's some people that play, the Overwatches and all those hero-based games, and then say, well, I want the gunplay to be, more tuned in, more realistic. I don't like the sprinting, jumping, hopping from all these other places. But maybe they went too far. I don't know. I'll never play that game, but
no, don't. It's dumb. Me and Dylan, we were like,
no, you're out of focus.
What am I playing?
Hey, better. You got to see. Yeah, no, you don't want your face to be blurry.
It actually might be better, but and then there was another glitch. I went back on Outriders on PC, and I said, hey, maybe they fixed. I don't know. Maybe they fixed the sound glitch. Of course they didn't. They didn't.
Not.
And then there's another glitch. So I was playing. There's a mission in Outriders where you're in this one particular area. It's called the Quarry, and you go. There's this guy. He's all wounded, and he wants to blow up this one area. I can't remember exactly why he wanted to blow up the area, but anyways, and he has like the fucking plunger with him. But there's like certain wires in that area that are that aren't connected. So you go kill a bunch of enemies, and you have to. There's like four, maybe five wires that you have to connect. So the first wire, go up to it. I hold E, because I'm playing on PC. I hold E to interact, and your character on the Xbox, your character kneels down, and you see him like doing whatever, and then he connects it. On the PC, I go to do it. My character glitches a few feet backwards, and I look at the wire, and it's moving on its own, and then it connects. It connects. The mission is still not, the objective is not completed. I'm like, I go back over, interact with it. My character glitches back a few feet again. Same thing. I have to like move my character around to get it to where and then he does. I see my character go down. Okay. Did that. It kept doing that with all the wires. I got to the last wire, I couldn't do it. I kept glitching. I tried at least a dozen times. I kept glitching back a few feet, and then I'd see the wire, and I couldn't do it. And I'm escape. Get me off of this fucking game. But that's what's weird on console. There's really no glitches like that. I mean, there's been some bugs and some glitches. You know, maybe 1 or 2 crashes, but it's not that bad.
That's not as bad as that.
Like, dude, man. Like I said, I don't know when
you had your hopes up for Outriders, and they just
no. That's the thing. I started. I really wasn't interested in Outriders for that long. I started watching like actual gameplay when I thought it was coming out back in February, and then I was looking. I started
the demo. You were getting excited about the demo, and you were like, the developers actually talk to you.
No, I know. Okay. Hold on a second. So, yeah, the demo didn't. That's the thing. The demo had like hardly any of these bugs. And this was before.
Weird how that happens. That's so weird how that happens.
I know.
I don't get it.
And no, it is a good thing. It is a very good thing that they communicate.
Yeah.
But we know, like I said, and also I didn't know this game was always online. I didn't know that until the game was released. I had no idea. I don't know how I didn't know that. I guess I overlooked it. But like I said, back in February,
games are always on like those co-op games, like those kind of things. I didn't think it would be like, even if you want to play it single player, it's always online.
Yeah, you have to sign into it. But like I said, I didn't like I knew about Outriders. I was like, yeah, it looks kind of cool. And then back in February, I started looking at like more details came out about it, and they were talking about expeditions and all this stuff. And then they broke down like what you can do with the attributes on the guns, how you can dismantle the guns and then take that attribute and then put it on, another gun. I was like, that's really cool. No other looter shooter really has that. You don't really have that in any other looter shooter.
Yeah.
And so that was different. I was like, that's when I started getting kind of excited about it. And then that's when I learned that it was being delayed till April 1st. But then they said like, and sometime I think in March when the demo came out, I can't remember. I think it was March. And then and then the demo came out, and then, I was playing it. I didn't play it that much. There are people who grinded it and got because your progression would carry over in the demo to the full game. So whatever weapons you had, all that, so people would grind it and get legendaries and go into the game, and I'm like, you ruined part of the game. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I didn't even get like I got like I played a little bit. I got to like I think I got one of the characters. I got to like level 7, and that was it. But that was it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait. I stopped playing it, and then that's when I noticed that the developers were updating the demo. They were communicating and this, and I was like, dude, that's really fucking cool. Sweet, that's awesome. Thank you, fucking fine, thank you. And then the game comes out. It's always online. Horrible launch, that's fine. Most games have horrible launches, anyways. But if it's always online, then it's guaranteed. You bet money on it. But and then all these horrible bugs came out. Just horrible game-breaking bugs. Computers crashing, having to restart your PC because the crash was so bad. There's only a handful of games that have done that in the past. Maybe a little more. I don't. But you understand what I'm saying? Like there's not a lot of games that.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem.
And then of course the biggest one was the loot wipe, which was in the demo. So they knew about it for a long time. And they're just like, when the game comes out, I guess we'll fix it then. I guess. And then their priorities were really odd. Like, crossplay, we're going to focus on cross. What do you mean? I can't play the game. What do you mean? If I can't play the game, me being able to play with my friends means nothing. I can jump into a game with my friends, but my game crashes all the time. It's like they don't know. It's like they take what the community wants most. Because what I heard was a bunch of I went on their Twitter feed, and most of the comments, can you fix crossplay? I'm like, you all are so stupid. You all are idiots. No, fix the bugs. And like I said, I don't know when the next patches for these bugs are going to come out. Like I could play no problem on Xbox. Like that's fine. But when it's PC, it's unplayable.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
That's weird.
It's just, and it's funny because Cyberpunk on PC was was really well. It ran really well. There wasn't too many bugs. There's some.
Yeah.
But on a console, there was a bunch of bugs. It's funny to see how that
reversed.
Yeah.
Completely reversed. How are you liking Spiritfarer?
It's really cool. So basically, the story of it is, Sharon, the Spiritfarer Sharon, who he has his boat and he takes the spirits and he helps them proceed to the next life or whatever. Yeah. You're a character that basically you take over his job and you have to find a boat and then you go and you gather these spirits that are on this island and you help them on their journey. And it's kind of cool when the spirits I've spoken about the game Hades, like that roguelike game where you're Hades' son.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now, damn it. But it's been too long since I played it. But how the game is like the graphics and how it is like in Hades, that game, it kind of reminds me a lot like that. But you get this boat and then whatever spirits you capture, or not capture, but whatever spirits help, they come on your boat and then they show their true form. So it's pretty cool. The storyline is pretty decent. And then you upgrade your boat and stuff like that and all that. So it's pretty cool. I'm definitely enjoying it. Well, what about you? The Ori? What is the first one called? I forget. Ori and the what?
Blind Forest.
Okay, Ori and the Blind Forest. Okay.
Yeah, you had me go. What was it? Over Will the Wisp, but then I remember
that's the second one.
Yeah, that's the second one. So I wanted to do the first one.
It makes sense.
It's cool. There's a forest. There's this mythical forest. It's a 2D platformer. And then as the game evolves, the story, there's a light essence in the forest. It gets taken away by this big dark owl. He just comes in and takes this orb and then throws it down this dark well or whatever. And then you and your buddy are like living this good life. There's apples. You're eating all these fruits and you're living fine. And then you're this little like white, I don't know, fox character. And then you have this big old like fat, like, your buddies. And then once the light gets taken away, all the food goes away. And he dies first because he saves a little bit of the food for you. And then you die again. And then I guess the tree that had the orb with this last die, it's like with the stupid destiny sphere with its last dying amount of light, it rebirths you. It brings Ori back from the dead, and then as like gratitude or whatever, you help him out. So you have to return light to this forest, and there's 3 elements of the forest. It's like water, wind, and something else. I forget what it is. The way that the platforming is and the way the game is, it obviously goes to like certain areas of the level you can't access.
Yeah.
Without obviously those powers, and you don't have them right away. And then even
it's kind of like Metroidvania.
A little bit, but then it gets to the point. It's obviously a 2D platformer, like I said before. And then the way it's really cool. There's one ability that I thought was interesting. I don't know how to describe it, but like every enemy, you have to get their attack. Like one guy jumps at you. There's owls that come at you in a straight line. There's spiders that dangle from above and shoot these like 3 straight projectiles at you. Mm-hmm. And you have to kind of gather the pattern of each one and fight them differently, which is cool. And of course, traps and all that. But there's one ability that once you get it, it changes kind of everything. And I love that it was in Control before you get telekinesis, and then you see all of everything around you, and that becomes the gameplay. I love that, and that's what this kind of is, because you get I don't know if it's ricochet, bounce off of enemies or projectiles. I don't know how you describe it, but if something's coming at you, you can hold Y, and then you can choose what direction. There's like a arrow that pops up, and you could either send the projectile back towards, because if you shoot off in one direction, the projectile goes the other direction. You can use that to return an enemy's fire at them, or you can use it to platform. So if an enemy shoots a long arcing and you need to go up to get a secret or whatever, a hidden thing, you have to keep that enemy alive. If you kill it, you can't get the thing. So you're using the enemies to play. It's really cool. So if an arc, ball or whatever comes at you, you have to double jump up to this, press Y, and then you launch up, wall jump. And then that's really cool using the enemies to platform. I don't know, expect that or see that coming. There's other little powers in the game where you jump and then you bring out this little sheet, this little leaf thing, and you float down.
Yes,
you can cover larger gaps. There's a dash power. It is just really, swear to God, Ray, one day, just gonna beat her. You're like, what happened?
Shit's leaking in the fridge.
Oh yeah, shit's leaking in the fridge. Yeah, what is it? Say, I think it's the cat's food that's leaking in the fridge.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't buy. She buys for this cat. I'm talking, pure organic rabbit meat for this cat. Just eats better than 90% of this country. This cat. She has to go to a special organic store here in San Diego for it. Am I interrupting your texting, Ray? What are you doing? Huh?
No. I'm looking up other things for the what I was talking about earlier.
The what thing? The Hades?
No. The
red flag. The red flag thing you want to talk about. You can talk about gun control, and I'm not going to understand any of it. But like the Ori, it's a good game. It's a good. I'm definitely going to finish it. Are you going to finish Seafarers?
Yeah. No, I'm going to play it tonight because, like I said, since I loved Hades, and since that game reminds me, and actually in Hades, Charon is part of the I think the Greek mythology, and it's really cool. You get a real cute cat. So your character's name is
cute cat.
But I can't remember the character you play. I can't remember his name for some reason. But then you get a real cute cat. His name's Dandelion, I think it is. But But it's really cool. I definitely like the style of that game, and it's a side scroller, 2D.
Okay.
But yeah, it's there's actually a game. I don't think it's on Games Pass. Did you ever play Rage 2?
No, it's on Game Pass. Yeah, it's made by Bethesda, so it's basically a Microsoft game now. No, I didn't.
It is on Games Pass?
Yeah, it's made by Bethesda.
Man.
And Bethesda's Microsoft now.
That's the next game I'm gonna hope to get you to play because that's a really cool game. That's a really fun game.
I wanted to play the first one. I remember the first one coming out on 360.
I thought we did play it a little bit.
60? Maybe. I just remember the mega textures and the game was supposed to look great, but it wasn't that fun to play. It was just a good game. It was supposed to be groundbreaking, at least the things that I read. And it was just
yeah.
Yeah, it was just okay. What was the thing? I like how you called me and talked about baseball.
Yeah, because I was out and I was just having a few drinks that night.
You were like, baseball. Do you think baseball is the most difficult sport? And I was like, it's hard to say which one's the most difficult, but if you're obviously hitting the whole thing, the round ball with a round bat, somebody's throwing it at you, trying to get you to not hit it, that's difficult. And I would imagine that they hit the ball hundreds of feet, and then having to catch it field is difficult. So I don't know. It was just, I would say it's one of the most difficult sports. I wouldn't say it's some of the most athletic. Like you don't have to be a superb athlete, but I think you have to be extremely, extremely skillful, and it's different. It's like golf. You don't have to be a crazy athlete. You don't have to run, jump, sprint. You don't have to do all that. But like the skillfulness, it's like pool. It's darts. You have to be like really I don't know, minuscule little. I don't know how to.
Yeah, no, I get. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, fine tuning all these little quirks, like just a golf swing. I was watching Tiger Woods, a 2-minute long video of him explaining how he swings a golf club. Yeah. And then I'm just like, I'm just like, what? He's like, long back, the back here short, and he's like, and he's breaking it down in increments. Like he'll rotate like 20 degrees, and he'll be like, here, I want my elbow here. Then when I get here, all I'm thinking about is my right, then my left arm here, flat something, flat arm here, and I'm like, and as he's going back, there's like these different stages of swinging, and I know zero about golf, so I just know I used to hold. They taught me when I was like 10 to hold a golf club as you interlock with the pinky or whatever. But I don't know if that's still the way you do it. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's I know. I was just there and I was just watching. I'm just drinking. I'm just sitting. I'm like, this dude threw this 95-mile-an-hour fastball. I'm just like, and it was like almost dead center. I'm just like,
dude, it's not.
How do you do that?
The pitching when you see pitching and then how far, it's like 90 feet, I think. No, 90 feet is the base. I think 90 feet's the basis. It might be 90 feet. I forget how far the mound is away from the plate. And then it's elevated. It's just weird. And then I saw that there's this one guy, I forget where he played. I saw it on some Instagram video. I wanted to share it with you, but you're not on Instagram. But he's like a chubbier pitcher, and he throws slow. And that's the thing. He can mix it up. So he threw a ball. It was like 56 miles an hour. Like it was, but the batters are so used to 80, 90 that they have a hard time hitting those slower ones. So like he threw 9 pitches in the inning and got everybody out, got all 3 outs, and then you just made it look like he was throwing it, and it looked like he was just slowly. Like it was it was like a pickup game. Like he was just, hey, I want you to hit this. I want you to hit it. And he just threw it softly, and they were swinging and missing, or they were grounding out. They didn't know how to hit it. Like hitting a 50-mile-an-hour ball, I guess, is different than hitting a 90 or a normal MLB. I have no idea.
And then,
why did that work?
And then what gets me is how you're able to throw curveballs or sliders. It's like the slider it goes straight and then down, right? Is that I can't.
Like it's I think it depends on which way the ball goes and like what hand they're throwing it. I think, but I know a curveball. Obviously, I think it starts center and then drops to one of the corners,
like that,
down and to the left or down and to the right.
I don't understand how.
I know like what I heard, a sinker obviously goes,
sinker. That's what that is.
And then
sinker,
drops down. There's a change up where it looks like you're gonna you throw a fastball, and then you have the same mechanics, and then it goes like 10 or 15 miles an hour slower, and that's what a change up is. So then the batter swings earlier because he's expecting the ball to be there sooner.
Dude, I'm just like.
Yeah, and then I told you want to. I was like, I want to play the MLB The Show now. Like hearing you talk about just pitching and how amazed you were freaking out about pitching. Now I'm like, I'm going to download MLB The Show in a few days. Like on the 20th, I think it is. What's today? 19th. Yeah, so tomorrow. It'll be out tomorrow. Downloading that, and I want to play that. Could you just move that chair, please? Could you move the chair?
Put it there.
Could you move? I know I did. That's a mistake. Could you just move the chair? I'm not saying it's there because of your fault, but I'm just. You've hit it 4 times with your large hips. Jesus.
My foot.
It's my foot. But yeah, so what was I want to get your the Jake Paul fight. I didn't see it. I completely forgot about it.
So no, Dylan. Apparently the reason why. Apparently the reason why Jake. Yeah, apparently the reason why Dylan he cleared it up for me. The reason why Jake Paul started crying after the fight is because apparently his friend said he had a dream that he was going to Jake Paul was going to beat Ben Askren within like under 2 minutes or something like that, or whatever. Yeah. And then his friend died. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
I'd be crying too.
Yeah, I'd probably do. But no, yeah. I mean, I don't really know anything about boxing, but like you were saying,
I just want to get like a casual person's perspective of a celebrity boxing match.
Jake Paul can
box. Yeah, Jake Paul can actually.
He's good. He's training. He's training. He's definitely good. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan, but it don't matter. Like, I don't really like LeBron James as a person, but he's fucking amazing basketball player.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna be, just because I don't like someone doesn't mean I'm gonna just shit on them when they're like there's millions of people who don't like Floyd Mayweather. But he's one of the best. I mean, 50-0, 49-0.
Yeah. It's like there's a point, and the same way that Floyd gets people to watch him get beat up because he would flash his money around just to piss people off, just so they would go watch him lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you get the people who like that lifestyle, who like your personality, to watch you fight, and that's what you want. But you also want to get the people who don't care about you to tune in to watch you lose. And that's what Jake Paul does, the same thing. He has people like him and hate him. So you're going to get both sides paying the, $20 or whatever to watch the pay-per-view fight, to hope half of them want to see him win, half of them want to see him lose, and they'll both pay the same amount of money. It's genius. It's unbelievable business. It's unbelievable business marketing mind.
It's that saying where any publicity is good publicity. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But and it's just like Miley Cyrus, I think there were more people that hated her than there were that liked. But her music video, Wrecking Ball, like that song, I Came Like a Wrecking Ball. Her music video where she's like on the wrecking ball, she's like naked.
Yeah.
This is years ago. This was years ago. That video at the time on YouTube had 9 billion views. When I saw it last, had 9 billion views.
But everybody was talking crap about her and all this other stuff. So it's like that stuff isn't real.
You don't understand what you're doing. Like, oh, you hate her so much, but you're watching the video because you hate her. That's giving her money.
Well, there's so many people that enjoy whatever the artist does, but then they don't comment. They just experience it. They like it, and they don't even like the video. They don't even subscribe to the channel. They watch it and go, oh, that's cool, and then they go about their day, or they listen to it like in the background. Yeah. So to me, I'm just like, why do people focus on the outburst of hate or the few thousand people who are making something trend? Like, how many people does it take to make something trend? Not millions and millions. It's like 10,000, like 10,000, whatever. And if you have millions of fans and 10,000 of them are upset, who cares? You have millions of people who like you and like what you do.
And then it's just like, and then what it is too is when you make people hate you and like the things that you say, say like Jake Paul, people say, oh my God, I can't believe this. And I'll do this too. It's like you hit share, look at this, and then it gets traction. And I'm like,
they just want you to click on the news article so that news article gets ad revenue. That's all.
There's another thing I wanted to talk to you about too.
That's all they care about.
Have you heard of Project Veritas?
Yeah. That guy got banned, I guess, because he caught a CNN member.
It was like one of the directors or something at CNN. He came out and just. I was like.
He was, but I don't know. Part of me was like, holy crap. And then another part of me is like, I think he's trying to get laid as well. I think he was out on a date and he was like, look how virtuous I am. We stopped, the guy everybody hates.
I get that. But
he's going to brag about, he's going to oversell whatever he does. And
he's saying, the words that he's saying, he said, yeah, we're biased. It's propaganda. That's what he is, propaganda. And then he said, remember what he said? He's like, we keep the COVID deaths.
Who's trying to hide,
No, of course they're trying to hide that, but like he's like, we keep the COVID deaths. He said something to the effect of like, why isn't this like higher? Why isn't the number higher? I'm like, what? And he said fear. He's like, that's what it is, all fear. It's just we just use fear. And then he's like, it gets ratings. I'm like,
because
at least he's honest.
Well, but it's interesting because you look at it, it's like, why is everything like there's no good news stories?
Yeah.
There's nothing because people don't care about that stuff. Mm-hmm. People want to see a car accident. They want to see a police chase. They want to see a shooting. They want to see all these things. And that's what they click on because it's something different that they're not seeing every day. Like nobody cares. Yeah, like I heard about all this, like the millions of dollars NBA players or sports athletes donate, whatever. Yeah. I have to like look for it. I have to actually, and a lot of them don't promote it. And it's always other people talking about is like, yeah, Russell Westbrook donated like, $2 or $3 million to this place. Jalen Rose, he has his own school, and like LeBron James does, and most people don't even know about like LeBron James. I Promise School, or like this man made his own school basically, like has his own. I don't know if he put his name on it, or is like deeply involved and put most of his. I have no idea his interact, but like just the idea of, hey, I see a problem. The issue is our kids are growing up, uneducated. There's kids that fall through the cracks, in his neighborhood or, in Cleveland. So how can I affect that change? Donate to some other charity? No, I'm going to be the charity. I'm going to make the school. I'm like, holy crap, that's. But
then it also depends on what they're teaching as well. It really depends on what they're teaching.
Well, if it's a school, it's going to be, left-leaning ideology. But like if you're taking kids off the street, I'd rather have them in a school, learning, doing music, learning, sports, learning all those things than being on the street committing crimes. Like that's.
Well, of course. I mean, but then of course you have the professors at the universities who are literally advocating for Antifa. And that's why there's so much. That's why there's so many. Most of them are like college students.
Yeah, no, but
that's so weird.
I listened to Joe Rogan talk about that, and he was saying that the professors they're in school. Most of them, they never go into the real world. So they have these ideas that they think work, and on paper they sound really nice. Like everyone has a piece of the pie. Everyone shares the same thing. But then when you implement it into society, it has terrible, terrible effects, and it has been tried before. And millions and millions of people have died because of it. Not like a couple. It's like millions and millions, like a direct line to that. But they're like, well, this version of this has never been tried, or this little critique, little tweak to the system hasn't been tried before. But it's interesting. What he said, like these professors, they're in school, they study academia, and then they get hired by academia. They don't go out into the real world, experience the real world, then come back to academia. They're always in this bubble. So whatever they think is real is real.
And they're never challenged. They're never challenged with other facts.
Yeah. So like, I don't, if it concerns me when everyone around me thinks the same way. And then I'm like, well, this is weird. This is awkward. I don't like.
You want to know.
I don't like that. Yeah. I don't like the fact that. Yeah. But part of me, like growing up, I was rebellious against like adult authority figures, like adults when I was a little kid, because all the parents were saying the same thing to me: act a certain way, be the certain way, and then like of course, I wouldn't go crazy and do anything stupid, but inside I'm like, well, why do they all say that? And I have that same kind of mentality with anything. If the same kind of like YouTube videos get recommended to me and they're all like pro gun ownership, I'm like, well, I want to see what the argument is. I know against taking guns away, and I want to see people's perspective or why they just don't like guns because they never had any. Like I've never seen a farmer or a hunter or someone who kills their own meat speak poorly about guns.
Yeah.
Like a responsible person with a gun is not a problem. It's like a mentally ill person who has access to a gun. But then like someone could be completely normal and then have a psychotic break.
Yeah.
And then go crazy. But you can't in a free society, unless you want to lock people up, like lock people inside their house at all times. Mm-hmm. Like there was one guy I was reading, he was a left-leaning person, like Marxist, communist type, and he went to live in China to learn in China, and he said they bolted him in his house. They bolted because they didn't want anybody out on he was like, I was in a country where I could not leave it's like, and it was perfectly legal. There was nothing. He was like, I could not go out. It's like, if there was a medical emergency, he's like, they could not open the people checking on us did not have the keys to the place. And I'm just like, but that's what you wanted before. So like you have this idea of this like utopia society.
Utopian.
When everyone like, where government has, all the control.
The majority control, yeah.
Yeah, the majority control. And then
they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, and then when like shit goes bad, they're going to do whatever they have to do. They don't care about you. They don't care about you regardless at all.
I bet he changed real quick. I don't want this.
He's like, oh, I rethought my and that's just one person. And it took him living in communist China to realize it, because when everything's going smooth, it seems fine. It's everyone's like, oh, I got a little piece here, I got a little piece there. It's not so bad. It's not so terrible. It doesn't seem that. But was when things go bad, and then that's when the government has just this sweeping power over everybody.
Yeah, and then I saw a video in Canada. These people they literally are at the border in Canada, and they have their fucking Canadian flag upside down, and they're flashing SOS Morse code over across the border because the government is starting to just completely take control. I'm like,
well, yeah, they don't have the same freedoms over here. They don't have the same freedoms.
And see that this shit's getting crazy.
It's getting
out of hand.
It's not.
It's definitely getting out of hand.
It's not going to get completely out of hand, I don't think, because I think there's too many rational people.
Maybe not here in America.
Well, but I'm just
maybe not for a while.
Yeah, but like if I don't know, I don't think. I think there's so many, because the government is filled with people that we elect. So they, in theory, they parrot what the people want. Because if you get enough people wanting something, a certain law in the land or in their state or whatever, it's going to happen.
Well, so yeah, and that's what the problem is.
It's like a big enough issue. Well, no, that's not the problem. That's the good thing about America. Like if the majority.
What I mean is if the majority wants Marxist people in office.
Well, like if that's what. Okay, first of all, I obviously not here in America because like that takes away the freedoms that already happen. But
we have too many good old boys with rifles that'll.
I would love to see what branch of the government is going to go into Texas and Florida and ask them and to give them, take away their guns. I'm like, okay, good luck. Because a lot of those people that are in the military are from those states. So
yeah, they're like, we're not doing that. We're going to fight actually against you.
You're like, yeah, we're going to go look for we can't find any. Texas had 0 guns. But it is interesting how they get into the, I don't know. They don't have like a realistic viewpoint because my initial thought is killing animals is bad. Like the factory farming where they have them all, cooped up, really, really close together. And it's like, it looks like shit. It looks
horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get those, it's like, well, let's not do that, but let's not have this completely vegan, no animal ever gets killed for human consumption.
Yeah.
It's like every animal on this planet, as far as I know, eats other animals to survive. Plants eat animals and insects. Yeah. So let's get over all of that. It shouldn't be this excess thing. It should be like a humane way of doing it. But,
well, yeah, of course. And and we do have that. We definitely have, there are a lot of farmers out there who have cows, raise cattle and stuff like that, who live really good lives, eat really well. And, they're taken care of and all that. And then,
but it's just that knee-jerk reaction to, well, no animal should suffer. And that's how I thought. And then a few of my friends and things like that, they hunt, they go kill things. And then I watch it on YouTube, these hunters talking about it. And it's like, well, we have a conservation tax. So when we buy guns, we buy hunting equipment, a good portion of that, it's all of that stuff is mostly entirely funded by hunters. To where the government can buy land and protect habitats and stuff like that. That's all because of the hunters. It's not because of the charities and all that stuff. It's because the hunters pay for that stuff because they want animals to go kill. So if they kill all the that's totally counterproductive.
Yeah.
Like a responsible hunter. Yeah, like the people that poach and kill the rarest animals, that they should go to jail. They should go to jail. Yeah, they should be. Well, I don't know about murdered. I don't think you should murder someone for killing an animal. I don't know if I want to live in that world, but yeah, he should be punished. Yes, for sure. I don't know if you kill this random fox, you lose your life. It's like, well,
no, poaching is different. Poaching is completely different.
Yeah, but I don't think you should lose your life, though. This is my opinion. I think.
Well, Trump, he actually made he signed an executive order where it made animal cruelty felony.
Well, yeah, it should be. You should go to jail for a long time. Yes, long time.
Yeah, and I was like, and there's a lot of people don't know about that. There's a lot of things that people don't know about. But anyway.
The deaths should be, I don't think animals and humans are on the same level as far as morality.
Of course not.
I would say because those animals would kill us in a second, like the cat that we have. If I was this big,
there was a comedian,
it would tear me apart.
I know. There's a comedian who was talking about that. He was talking to this audience member, and he's like, "So you care about all animals?" She's like, "Yeah, every single animal." He goes, "Okay." He goes, "Do you think a bear cares about you? Think a bear cares about your life?" And she's like quiet. He's like, No, the bear doesn't care. A lion doesn't care. It'll fucking destroy you. It'll eat you.
It's not your friend.
Yeah, yes. But that actually reminds me too. It's so funny. When you mentioned that the more left-leaning guy who, he was Marxist, communist, and then he went to China. And have you heard those stories a couple years ago where these people, there's these left-leaning advocates for like places in like Iraq where they're not bad. They don't just randomly kill people or women. They don't do anything like that. These people go to these places and end up dying. There's multiple cases of this, and I'm like,
well, yeah, and they can go over there.
Oh my God. Okay, now you learn. I mean, you didn't really learn. I mean, you learned for a split second. You had that moment right before you're like, oh my God, everyone was.
Yeah, everyone was right. And then you're dead. And it's like, okay. If you have this utopian ideal of the world and all the people in it, America is the most progressive place on the planet. Like it's not.
Yeah, it's not even
to be gay. You can be murdered in countries for being gay. Murdered, and so I'm just like legally, and I was like, we're the problem. We're over here. We're the problem. Like everyone pump the brakes. Like we have issues where we need to fix, obviously, but quit acting like
we're the most worst.
Millions of people are being murdered on a daily basis or something. I'm just like, there's child soldiers in Africa, children being turned into soldiers.
There's still slavery in Africa.
There's more slaves now than there ever have been in recorded human history.
And these are facts, but of course these people, they're not trying to fight for that. No, they're talking about enslavement. Dude, I get this one dude. He said that he called me a smartass because I mentioned the 13th Amendment abolish slavery. He said it doesn't fully abolish slavery.
I was like, it does. You can't have a slave.
Okay.
You can't have
okay. No,
there's a minimum wage illegal. Too now, so you can't have you can't have that. And if you want to make the ideal like we're a slave to money because we need money to eat, and we can have that argument. That's like a philosophical morality kind of thing. Like if you love nice cars and you need money to buy nice cars, technically you're a slave to money. But nobody's forcing you.
No one's forcing you. That's completely different.
Yeah, that's but that's how people. Like, oh, you're a slave to this, this business.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. They try to correlate. They try to correlate the slaves that didn't fully abolish it. Well, what do you mean? How is that possible? Because people are slave to money. That's a completely different argument. That what? Yeah, but I get what you're saying. I get that's what they would correlate with. And I'm like, no.
No, they force us to work in their companies. It's like nobody forced you to go work there. You got a resume, and because you want money to have a decent life. Like I understand, I need to make what was it? My rent, or there's like for me to live nice, it's like $30,000 a year.
Yeah, and that's really not that bad.
That's really not bad at all. And obviously I'm single. I don't have any kids.
And it would be less if we were in like Texas or Arizona. Yeah. It's just because California's expensive as fuck.
Yeah, and it's not like for a person like me and my girl. I thought I was single, but like a single person.
Yeah.
I'm not single. She hears that, comes in and starts beating me. I was like, I'm sorry. For someone who's not married, even someone who's married, I would think that you get more tax breaks, I think. But then that encourages people to get married, which is interesting. I don't understand why they want, because I think the country, like the government wants more people. Like it's not as many people as possible, but they want the population to always grow because otherwise they wouldn't. Why does the government encourage you to get married? I always thought about that. Why do you get tax breaks for being married? Why?
Well, it's because some of them are dependents.
But okay, so like the man work, like how it usually used to be. Like the man would work and then have the wife stay at home?
Yeah, the wife would stay home and take care, and then, the man would pay for the bills and stuff like that and pay for the groceries.
So even if the wife makes a certain amount? So like,
I think you can claim.
So you can claim your wife? I thought you can claim a dependent, but like I thought it had to be like your kid.
Yeah, you can like on my taxes, if I want to, I could claim Danielle. But we file married but separate. But then next year, I think we're gonna file single. No.
I always wondered that because I heard some radio disc jockey when I was younger talk about. He was like, he wasn't married and he has a girlfriend who he just lived with for like 15 years and they don't want to get married. And he was bitching about how people who are married get tax breaks. And he was like, they're penalizing single people. Why don't I get a tax break? But then you brought up that
the dependent thing. Yeah,
I'm like, okay, because you have to basically pay for somebody else, so you should.
Yeah.
If that were the case, I don't know if that still applies if she's making a ton of money.
No, I don't know. Well, it actually depends. I think it's if you pay the bills. If you I don't know how that.
You can't have the same dependent. Like the wife can't make you the dependent.
No,
it has to be the person making the least
amount.
Yeah. I don't know.
But so I do want to piggyback off of what you were saying about how like the military, the military going into Texas or Florida. Yeah, we're here to take the guns. No. That is basically what red flag laws allow. I'm not kidding. There's no due process. There's nothing that you can do.
The Joe Biden executive order. Yeah. Did he sign it into whatever?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's already been signed in because it's April 19th and I'm looking at April 8th.
Biden says violence is an epidemic, calls for red flag law. That was April 8th. And the Biden directed the DOJ to write rules that will reduce the proliferation of ghost guns and all that kind of stuff. And Biden faces long odds and push for more state red flag laws. Yeah, of course you're going to get fucking pushback. But what it is the government. If the government deems, if you have weapons, if you have firearms, if the government deems you unfit to hold a firearm or mentally ill, they can come into they can literally send the police in, and they can anytime they could take your guns. They don't need a warrant, and you can't even face your accuser. You can't face your accuser.
Well, how can the government deem so hypothetically this exists. Let's be in a world where the government can deem you unfit to have guns. By what measurement would that be deemed?
I know. So but that's up to the government. That's the problem.
Part of me thinks if you've committed a crime, if you're a felon, should you be allowed?
If you're a felon,
you can't legally have guns, right?
Yeah, you can't have If you have, I think you can if you have like a misdemeanor, but I think it depends on what the misdemeanor is. But if you have a felony, I'm pretty sure you can't own a firearm at all.
Okay, but then how would you mentally and stuff if you have like a psychotic episode?
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm wondering.
If say because I don't own any guns, but if I did, and all of a sudden, I have no problems, nothing. All of a sudden, they could just say, "Hey, Raymond Woods, he's deemed unfit to own a firearm. Go get him."
But I would think you'd have to have.
I know, but like I said, but you understand what I'm saying. Like
I can understand where you could lead that to, but like the red flags, you would have to have a red flag in a just society. The government would have to have some kind of incident. So you having like tendencies of violence, you having these outbursts, all of these things, like something that's fit. Because if they say
we already have that law. If you have like tendencies of like psychotic breaks or whatever, like they can't come in right now. If this is already put in place, then they can now. But before, if you had to have like psychotic episodes, they could just come to you. But if you got a call, someone could call the police, like, hey, this person is screaming and this and that. Like, we need the police. They have a weapon. The police can come and talk to you, and then they have reasonable doubt to come into your house. But I mean, that happens all the time. Like, for instance, like a lot of streamers, they would get what's called swatted. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, where people. Oh yeah, it's real interesting. People be streaming. It's happened to a bunch of streamers, like the famous ones, where someone would be they'd be streaming, and then someone in the comments would call the police, find out their address, and say, hey, this person has a bunch of guns. They're saying they're going to kill people, and the SWAT team will come in and break into their house, and then find that nothing's going on. And sometimes like the police will just show up and they'll be like, hey, we'll check it out, and then like the streamer will come like, hey, I'm just streaming. Like sometimes I get people who will find my address and then call. And then they'll come, and so like that it's pretty crazy. You can look it up. It's kind of crazy. Like that's
interesting. I would first of all, I would say that I would like the police, obviously, to be able to show up to someone's house. So say if I see something.
No, yeah, that's what you can do. That's the whole point. That gives them, okay, I have a witness. But the thing is the difference is if these red flag laws aren't there, what the difference is you can face your accuser. You can go to court, and they have to prove it. Like now, if it's the thing is obviously there has to be reasonable doubt. If it's true, you're having a fucking psychotic breakdown and you have a fucking waving a gun, police can fucking bust in your door, of course. But it's that's protected under the certain laws. But with this red flag, if someone calls and like if someone says, hey, I so-and-so, this and that, it doesn't matter. If the government says, yeah, go ahead and take them, and you can't face your accuser, you can't do anything about it, your guns are gone. That's complete.
Well, there's got to be, I don't know, there's got to be a way that you could prove that you're not mentally unstable. That's not, they can't, they're not going to just take one person's word for it. They have to have actual evidence, I would imagine.
I mean, you can go into more detail. Obviously, we can't go into more detail right now.
You're about to get out of here, so.
But
that is an interesting concept because I know the gun. I was watching whatever that Noir guy. and IOR. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about. He's like, well, why would you keep putting more and more restrictions on guns?
Yeah,
it's like it's eventually because you want to get rid of all guns.
Yeah, and
then he had the idea. He's like, why do rich left-leaning people want no guns? Why do they feel that way? Like there's no real benefit to taking other people's guns away. There's no real monetary benefit to it.
Yeah.
And then Joe was on Joe Rogan podcast. He's like, Joe asked him, was like, why do you think they feel motivated to do this? Like, he's like, more people die of a whole bunch of other things, car accidents, tobacco. They're not out. Alcohol.
Yeah, I know.
They're not out.
They're not trying to ban vehicles. They're not trying to ban alcohol. They're not trying to ban cigarettes.
So it's like, what exactly are your motives? And he said, which is an interesting concept, that these rich people, they've distanced themselves so much from the common man that the only thing that makes them equal is one of those common men. They can own the right to a gun and take everything that he has away from him.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So like a random shooter in a place that he visits, like, he doesn't, like, super rich people don't go to Walmart, don't go to wherever.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're in a hotel or something, if you get 10 crazy, you can find 10 crazy people.
Yeah.
Which is understand with as many guns as there are, it amazes me that there aren't more shootings. Because of how many people are crazy, it amazes me that there isn't multiple ones every day. There's 300 million people. I can't even imagine that number in my head thinking, and there's only a couple every month, you even say, or like a cluster of them here, and then we go so far without one, and then I think a mass shooting is like 4 or more people or 3 or more.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but then in Chicago, how many mass shootings there are with like gang members? Like,
but they're not talking about that.
They're not talking about that at all. So I'm just wondering, like, what the issue is. So I think it's because I think he might be right. Because that's the only way the common, the lower class people can damage his life is by some random crazy person with a gun. So he wants everyone to not have a gun, but then he's surrounded by armed bodyguards.
Mm-hmm. That's what
he has his own private, the rich, whatever, has a private detail. So I'm like, so you're okay with the people around you having guns? It's the same thing as like, we shouldn't have a border wall, but then your house has walls around it. And you lock your house door. It's like, what? You can't.
The White House has gates.
Yeah, and armed guards in front of it because there's a reason. Because there's crazy people.
Yeah, there's crazy people out there. We know for a fact the border wall. At the border, we have sex trafficking, drugs, MS-13 gang members. Those are facts. Those are people, and dude. Have you seen the pictures? I was talking to Dylan about. Have you seen the pictures of how overrun the facilities at the border are? So overrun that there are now they have people sleeping outside in the dirt, and they have like NASA little fucking thermal blankets over them with like some little fences, and I'm like,
well, all the immigrants think like Biden's going to be more favorable to them, so they're coming on over in droves.
And what's funny too? I can't remember which. I saw the interview. I can't remember which. I think it was like ABC or NBC or one of those. There were more left-leaning news outlets. They were interviewing one of the illegal immigrants, and basically what she was asking him, would you come over here? Or what's the reason why there's so many people coming over here? He literally said the words, because of Biden. Because of Biden. And she said, so wait, you're saying that if Trump was still president, you wouldn't be coming over? He goes, no. And she's like surprised. I'm like, yeah, and they aired it. I'm like, oh.
But you can twist that to be a pro-Democrat thing by saying that person would not want to be in a country that is ran by Trump.
Well, of course.
So you can so either way, you can say, well, because Trump had more, harsh penalties on illegal immigrants coming over here. But Biden is just like, well, we're going to put you in this little.
It's okay for them to. It's okay for them. And you notice how, dude, have you seen the pictures of AOC when Trump was in office and she was looking at that at the fence? Have you seen those pictures? She was crying.
Yeah,
dude. Apparently she wasn't even looking at the border. She was looking at like a parking lot, and it was all just all for.
They're all actors and actresses.
That's crazy. But now of course
And then she said,
I don't trust any of those politicians.
She look. Then she went on video. Okay, she said, "There's no surge at the border. These aren't insurgents." Chase, surge and insurgent? They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing at all.
It's like, you're a politician. You should know that. You should know but words don't mean anything anymore, Ray.
Dude, I was like, oh my God, I got chills watching this. But of course, it's okay and then she blamed the people saying there's a surge at the border, which there is. She blamed it on white supremacy. Of course,
I was like,
it's a white supremacy word. I'm like, oh.
White people are not involved at all in this. But there was something I saw that it was interesting because of a lot of the police shootings of some unarmed black people and then some who are not unarmed. And then I saw an interesting article. This is a side note in ESPN where they retracted in an article talking about police shootings. At the very bottom of this long article, they retracted what they wrote before about Jacob Blake being unarmed months and months ago. And then they cited him in an interview saying that he had a knife on him. And I was like, you can watch the video.
Yeah, he has a fucking knife.
YouTube had breakdown. I was like, how do I know something that media outlets don't on videos? Like, you saw something in his hand. You saw this black object in his hand, and then the cop saying, drop the knife, drop the knife, drop the knife. Percentage of the time, people are like, oh, the cops lied just so they could shoot him. I'm like, the cops don't want to shoot people. That's more paperwork.
Yeah, they don't like doing that.
Like,
they don't like killing people.
Like I don't understand what this issue is here. And then, like, out of his own mouth, Jacob Blake's own mouth, he's like, yeah, I should have probably not picked the knife back up. And I'm just like, so he what? So he was? And then that whole story goes away. The whole story.
It just goes away.
You don't hear about it anymore. You don't say,
hey, overwhelming evidence.
Our bad. I was like, would you stop having this reactionary thing? Because, like, there was the one, the 13-year-old kid who got shot, and all I saw was a picture of his hands up. And I'm like, what cop shot that kid with, a little kid with his hands up? And then I found out he was up at 2 o'clock in the morning shooting guns off, like in
And all you did is just dive a little deeper.
Yeah, I just watched this video, and I'm like, oh, so he was basically a gang member, and he had a gun, and he threw it away. Like, he threw it, but then at the same time, he picked his hands up, and the cop, like, the gun goes from visible to the cop to, like, behind the kid's body, and that's when he threw it behind a fence, I guess. And then he put his hands up. So in a motion, he could have came across and shot the cop. Yeah. And in a perfect world, I'd rather have the cop live than
a gang.
I would want the cops are there to protect society, law-abiding citizens, us. I don't want the cop to lose his life because he thinks, oh, maybe in that split second where the gun is between his body and my vision, he threw it away. So I'm not going to shoot. But then that person goes around, shoots the cop, and that cop doesn't go home to his family because he thinks about a societal outburst. Well, if I shoot this, this kid or whatever, I'm like, this guy is like a gangbanger, basically, and he has a gun. I would want the cop to err on the side of caution, just in general. So, like, he have this crazy thing, and it's your adrenaline's going. It's like this kid, and he was evading police. He was running. You stop and you put your hands up.
Put your hands up. Okay, and then I have a firearm on me. Okay.
Yeah, even if it's in your hand, just running, throw it, and put your hands. Like, I don't want to see a 13-year-old kid die for his brain's not fully developed yet.
Yeah.
Like, at all. So I'm just like, and the same thing with the 20-year-old kid who was in the car struck. What are you doing resisting arrest? Like, bad things are going to happen. You shouldn't have died. You shouldn't have gotten shot. But what the hell are you doing? Where are your parents? Who's teaching you how to do these? Like, I don't know what it is, man. I just don't.
And it's funny because I've gotten into a couple arguments with people where I say if he resisted arrest, would he still be alive? Granted, obviously, she made a mistake. She made a very big mistake, and she's gonna pay for it.
No, she should go to jail. And he should have. Obviously, he should have went to jail for the aggravated assault arrest, or whatever. He assaulted someone and robbed them at gunpoint. Yeah. It's just but these are the people you're putting on shirts. George Floyd was a drug addict. He was passing counterfeit bills. He had a child at home. He has a daughter at home, a cute little daughter, who he's ignoring to go do drugs. And then he robbed a pregnant woman at gunpoint.
Do you hear about the trial? You hear about what's going on at the trial right now?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit, yeah.
the prosecution is losing. They're doing horribly.
Well, I think he's going to be guilty. I think.
Yeah, he's going to be guilty regardless because of the BLM riot. Yeah,
happened. Yeah,
and it's sad. And it's absolutely horrible.
I don't know.
But now I think the judge can overrule. I think the judge can say, no, this is not. No, you're not. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't really know all the laws at all. But
that judge seems pro, like putting him away. I think most people understand that. But what's fun? I'm trying to think of a joke that relates this to the O.J. Simpson trial and how white people wanted him to be guilty and black people wanted him to be, non-guilty. And then in this case, this is the exact opposite. Like a murder happened, a black person killed a couple of white people, a bunch of black people wanted him to get off. He didn't do it. And then this one, a white person, allegedly, he kneeled on his neck for 9 minutes. It's really not a good look at all. But a white person killed a black person. So then I want to try to connect the two. But I'm not obviously smart enough, but there's got to be something.
Like you know what's funny actually, because I was watching it too. Actually, apparently, so they had a doctor on there, and I don't know exactly who the doctor was. I don't know if he did the autopsy or whatnot, but it looked like in the video they replayed the video of where he was on his back. In the video you can look. It looks like he's more on his back than his neck.
Well, yeah, there's certain parts of the video where he's like up on the shoulder blade.
Yeah.
And from a certain angle, it looks like he's on his neck. And
then we had another. I don't know. He was a police officer, police chief, or whatnot. He was saying that since George Floyd was resisting arrest, he could have used more force. I was like, what? He's like that. He goes, me, I would have used more force. He's like, he was apparently with what he was doing, he was using within his legal rights of force.
There was one guy I saw, he was for the amount of force, but then he mentioned that George Floyd was laying there comfortably in the same thing, and I'm just like,
he was able to talk, he was able to do this.
And I was like, that's not comfortable. Being face down on the asphalt with your hands handcuffed behind your back and like three dudes laying on top of you, you're not comfortable. Don't use the word comfortable. Was not a good word to use.
Well, yeah, but that's what it's meant to be. It's not supposed to be comfortable. You're resisting arrest. It's not meant to be comfortable.
I know, but for him to say that it was comfortable or misspeak and say it was comfortable, I'm like, well, what else did you misspeak that I did? I'm not smart enough to understand,
Well, that's just,
nothing good. Like they made a lot of mistakes in that arrest, but I'm at this point where I'm just like, well, in the toxicology thing, they're saying he had like 2 to 3 times a lethal limit of the drugs in his system at the time. But then other things I hear that he doesn't, he wasn't on any drugs. So I'm like, wait, who am I? Where? What exactly is going on? And this is a trial, so I'm wondering, like the facts that are coming out about it.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that the police made very many mistakes because they put him in the car and he said he couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And they took him out, and then he started resisting arrest. And like, what are you doing? And then they put him on the ground. Like they did what they were supposed to do. And he died. I think he died from overdose. I think he died from overdose.
I think he died because of that, and then the drugs, and then that interaction with the police,
the stress and the pressure, and I think it wasn't a good mix. But I don't think he should go to jail. I don't think that's just me personally. Like with what I'm seeing, and I'm looking at the evidence. I'm looking at what's going on. Look, if he was completely wrong, if it was a direct cause from him putting on his neck, he should get manslaughter. Everyone should get their due process. Everyone, and so if he should go to jail, if it's direct cause. But I was gonna say something else and I can't remember. I got really, really tangled up.
Well, you got to go anyway here pretty soon.
Well, yeah, but what's funny too is actually the general manager or something. I can't remember who. Some manager of Minneapolis where the Dante Wright was shot from the female officer. He said she deserves due process. He got fired by the mayor for saying that. I'm like, that's our system. So she should just be put in jail?
No, she should be hung tomorrow. That's what society,
that's completely against all of her constitutional rights. And she could fucking dude. I don't know.
I was like, O.J. Simpson allegedly killed those two people, and then got off, and then wrote a book that said, "If I actually did it," or something like that. And we live in it. That's what happened. So we're all cool with this murderer walking around, alleged murderer, walking around, not just walking around and making millions of dollars off of his likeness and his past writing a book that's if he did it, explaining how he would kill the people who are dead. That's crazy to me.
But we have white privilege. Mm-hmm, yeah.
But I'm like,
sure.
Huh? It's like we live in a weird world. It's like, okay, when I was a kid, I was for OJ getting off. I was like, there's too many little holes. This is not beyond a reasonable doubt that he did it. He probably did it, but I'm not going to put someone in jail for probably. And this one, I'm just like, well, I can see both sides of the argument to where the toxicology thing would have to think, but like beyond a reasonable doubt, you have to have beyond a reasonable doubt that what he did was a direct relation to it. And I don't know. I mean, they're putting doubt in my head just by me watching, 30, 45 minutes of those YouTube videos, like the highlights of the trial. They're putting doubts in my head. I'm like, well, okay, well then he shouldn't be, there's a reasonable doubt that what he did might not have done it. And then the thing I wanted to bring up real quick was that George Floyd's friend, who was in the car with him, his drug dealer, won't
testify.
He won't testify. He pleaded the fifth because he could be in trouble. He could be tied to the murder of George Floyd because he's the one who gave him the drugs.
He doesn't want to incriminate himself.
So if that's the case, if you knew that the knee was the reason, that you wouldn't care. And then the prosecutors could waive his. They could say, "Hey, you're exempt from any charges. Testify that what you are." They didn't do that.
No.
Why didn't they do? Why didn't the state do that? Give him immunity from those charges because they want someone to go to jail for this. So if they don't get Derek Chauvin or whatever, they're going after him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't understand. If you really believe that the cop was 100% the reason why, then that drug dealer, his friend who gave him the drugs, should be able to testify exactly what he was doing. He was like, yeah, I was in the car giving him drugs. Yeah, he took this many pills, and then they didn't find him on any of the pills. So that means he ate them, he digested them. So you gave George Floyd all of the drugs that he used to kill himself. So you're going to jail now. But they didn't do that. So I'm just like, there's so many little wrinkles. I'm just like,
yeah,
I know. This doesn't affect me.
We're not even lawyers. I guarantee you the other lawyers, the defense, are like, yeah, this is really confusing to us too. We don't know what the fuck is going on in our society right now.
I'm dumb and stupid, so I don't.
We know there's something really fishy about that.
I don't know. I mean, but each side is trying to argue its point and point out the weaknesses in the other's case, and I get it, but it's just strange. But anyways,
yeah.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of the Video Games Nonsense Podcast. I'm Chase Carter. That's
Raymond Woods.
And we'll see you guys next week.
I remember